What's up guys, Lvladen here, and today I'm coming at you with a video on my Red Paladin, and we're going to discuss what the best legendary is for Red, for general purposes, PvP, PvE, and let me tell you right now. So basically what happened is I tested all the Red legendaries on beta, and roughly maybe about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before launch, Blizzard started nerfing a lot of the Ret legendaries, and then Rets had to figure out, what's the best for each situation again. And it ended up becoming so diluted from the nerfs that there's no standout alone best legendary for all forms of content. So what we have instead is a bunch of different situational legendaries right here. And I will go over which ones I think are the best, or not I think, but which ones I know are the best in which situations. So the first we can go over right here is Tempest of the Lightbringer. Now in Mythic Plus, this is the best option for you as a Ret. Also in Rated and Random BGs, you will easily be able to top damage into cleave fights. It increases the damage of Divine Storm by roughly 20% because you're tossing out another 20% increased Divine Storm. You can stack that on top of an Appearing Power if you wish, but Tempest of the Lightbringer for Mythic Plus and Random BGs. Now, it's not so good in threes unless you're going as a melee cleave into another melee cleave. For example, you're playing Ret Arms into another Ret Arms or into a Turbo Cleave, which is Enhanced Warrior or maybe Windwalker DK. Then Tempest of the Lightbringer can be really good, but against most caster cleaves who are going to be separate, you're not going to get any benefit out out of Tempest of the Lightbringer. Which brings me to the next legendary right here, Uther's Devotion. Now this is really strong into purge comps, into comps that are going to kite you, because you can run Unbound Freedom and have a Freedom with Unbound Freedom up very often. It also gets your Blessing of Protection off cooldown slightly faster. Now this is okay in terms of most PvP situations, but right now, actually the meta is melee cleaves. So I don't recommend going Uther's Devotion right away. Probably a little bit later in the expansion when Frost Mages and Elite Shamans and even more priests than there are now are running rampant, then maybe Uther's Devotion will be really good because we'll have more access to freedom. They'll kite us less. Now, Relentless Inquisitor right here. This is the second highest single target simming legendary for Ret in PvE. But unfortunately, it's kind of boring. You're only providing yourself with 5% haste. You have to stack up to the 5% haste. And then that second highest single target sim is based on having 100% uptime at 5%. So if you ever drop it, from the 5 stacks to 1 stack and have to restack up, then you are losing out on the benefits of Relentless Inquisitor. So I would never take Relentless Inquisitor in PvP. And if you do enjoy a little bit faster gameplay, feel free to take it in PvE. Now the Mad Paragon is an interesting legendary, and for the sake of you guys, I decided to mess up my whole Soul Ash rotation and plans of buying Final Verdict and upgrading my Zephus, and I bought a Mad Paragon Waste right here. So I have a 210 Mad Paragon Waste, and I was comparing it with Zephus in PvP for single target damage. And let me tell you right now, I actually regret my decision. So Mad Paragon increases the damage of Hammer of Wrath by 30% and the duration of Avenging Wrath by 1 second. So it sounds on paper like it's really good for PvP because you get longer wings and more Hammer of Wrath damage. But actually, with Zephus, you're getting more access to the 80 secondary stats. So that gives you 2% Verse, 4% Mastery, and 2% Haste. Now, the increase in all those and the more frequent access actually add to your burst, a little bit to your survivability. It increases your rotation. And I have to say that I'm going to upgrade my Zephus to max before I continue with the Mad Paragon. Now, that doesn't mean that Mad Paragon is bad by any means. So it increases the damage of Hammer of Wrath by about 30%. And with my gear and my stats right here, I have 26% Mastery, 21% Verse, 10% Haste, 6% Crit at 186 item level. I hit roughly 8 to 9k Hammer of Wraths running Pelagos with the Mastery buff in PvP with Wings and Seraphim active. So, if your main goal as a ret is to be successful in both PvP and PvE, running Mad Paragon as your primary legendary is perfectly acceptable. You're not actually losing out on too much by not going Zephus. But if your sole purpose is to climb in PvP, then Zephus is the move. Just because you get access to it pretty much every Hammer of Justice you have. And then if you land a kick, again, you have another access to Zephus as long as it's off its internal cooldown, which is only 30 seconds. The next legendary we can go over right here is Vanguard's Momentum. Now, I tested this on beta. And if you are Venthyr, so say you're rating as a Venthyr Ret Paladin, because unfortunately, somehow, Venthyr is the #1 simming single target Covenant, in rating only, by the way, you can run Vanguard's Momentum, and it will increase the damage of your holy abilities, stacking up to 3 times. So you get 9% extra, plus you get the extra Hammer of Wrath. It's pretty solid. In PvP, if we ever get access to 2 legendaries, Vanguard's Momentum plus something like Mad Paragon might be really good together. But for now, if you're focused on PvE, I'd say Mad Paragon over Vanguard's Momentum just for now. Final Verdict, unfortunately, towards the end of beta, got nerfed. In the very beginning of beta, it was, I believe, a 10% increase on Templar's Verdict, plus a 50% chance to proc Hammer of Wrath every time you use the Templar's Verdict. Well, now, you're only benefiting from the 10 increased yards on Final Verdict with a 15% chance at Hammer of Wrath, and if you're not taking Mad Paragon, your Hammer of Wrath is not going to do an insane amount of damage, and again, this is a very nice utility legendary, but unfortunately, it doesn't provide too much of a damage benefit. And right now, personally, on my note, I'm not having too much issues killing people in arenas. the meta is really fast, so if I do manage to get onto my target, it usually dies. But again, who knows? Maybe a little bit later, similar to Uther's Devotion, it might be nice to have this legendary for ranged comps. Now, Dusk and Dawn got heavily nerfed right before beta ended. It used to be 15% damage and 15% damage reduction, but now it's only 6 and 3%, so I don't think it's that great anymore. It's just, imagine if it gave you versatility. It's basically a Zephus, but without the 10% crowd control loss of effect. That's how I'm gonna say Dusk and Dawn is like. Now, Magistrate Judgment, I think it's simming about roughly, it's almost tied with Relentless right now on sims in terms of single target damage. It's not too bad. It's just very, very situational, and I wouldn't take it. If you're going for pure single target damage, Mad Paragon is really good. Mad Paragon is second in AoE as well, just to Tempest Lightbringer, so I would kind of ignore Magistrate Judgment as Ret for now. Prot, that's a different story. This is really good on Prot, but as Ret, I don't think so. And then the last legendaries here, I'm not going to really go over too much. You know, you have, you'd have to be running this legendary paired with other people who are running these legendaries, and we don't have access to them quite yet. Like, it requires a lot of Venari, rep grinding, etc. But theoretically, some of these could be good. Unfortunately, I didn't test stuff like Judgment of Arbiter on beta, and again, the #1 simming legendaries right now for PvE are Mad Paragon, single target, Mad Paragon second in AoE, and Tempest Lightbringer #1 in AoE overall. So the legendaries that I would recommend you guys go first is probably Mad Paragon. Second, or if you're only focusing on PvP, go Zephus. If you want to have fun, Final Verdict, feel free, guys, feel free. I'm going to eventually pick up Final Verdict because I love the animation. I love the extra range, but right now I do really like Zephus. I do like Mad Paragon. And if your primary goal is AoE, grab Tempest of Lightbringer for Mythic Plus. And it's not too bad on rating either. Alright guys, I hope I was able to clarify some questions on Retribution Paladin legendaries in the order that I'm going to achieve them in. Hopefully, if I actually manage to win this this little mission table over here, I'll be able to get my 210 Zephus as well as my 210 Mad Paragon. Let me show you guys real quick what I am working on right here. I don't think my my followers are actually strong enough to get this 120 Soul Ash. It is a difficult mission, 8,500, 530, but you can get some more Soul Ash through the mission table. All right, if you guys enjoyed, Feel free to like, subscribe, comment below. Tell me what you think about the legendaries for Ret Paladin. Are they a little overwhelming? I think so, compared to some other classes like Enhanced Shaman, who get straight up just another burst cooldown with their Wind Fury Totem, or stuff like Unhinged for Arms Warriors, which have insane single target burst and spread pressure burst. But yeah, little underwhelming for Ret. Not the worst in the world, though. Very situational. At least we have legendaries that we can run in different situations. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next video. Peace.